Welcome to Crossroads Callings, the podcast where we turn life's critical pivots into paths of purpose. I am your host, Chimere Brown, and my guest today, Brittany Gold, is a resilient mother, IT project manager by day, and a passionate wellness advocate with a motto to pray, live, laugh, and glow from the inside out. But most importantly, she is a single mother of three who transformed her darkest hour into a source of determination and grace. Brittany faced her biggest crossroad when she became a divorcee, yet through that experience, she found her voice and her pen, leading her to the powerful new book, The Living Room. Welcome to the show, Brittany.
Thank you, Chimere.
I'm so excited to have you. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of your book. I'm proud of your vulnerability. And I'm so honored that you chose to premiere your book here on Crossroads Callings.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you because Chimere is my girl. We hang out.
Yes.
And I love to see you in this light as well. I've always thought you were very talented and you all articulate so well, always so fashionable. And now you've created a platform for people to tell their stories. This is the next Oprah, y'all. I'm telling you. Watch out, Oprah.
Thank you so much. So today we're going to dive into how she turned the question, why me, into God, what am I supposed to do with all of this? And I think that is the question so many of us ask. So get your pen and your paper, tune in now. We're going to get into our living room, Crossroads Callings. It starts now. Okay, Brittany, so your story is so reminiscent of so many women that go from their parents' house to their marital home to being mothers, or from their parents' house to becoming mothers and hitting all of these major milestones without really having the time to explore who they are as people.
Absolutely.
My first question for you is, do you remember who you were before you became a wife and mother? Do you remember that girl at all?
I do now.
Okay.
But it took a few therapy sessions.
Okay.
I remember going through therapy while I was still married, and my therapist asking me, what makes you happy? And I could not answer that question. And at one point in time, it was easy. In my past life, I say my past life, my 20s, I was a singer and a songwriter. While I was in college, I had a whole album. I would do live performances, photo shoots. You couldn't tell me I was not going to be a professional singer and songwriter. But life happened. You know, bills started coming in. I had to start adulting, and really I didn't have the right team behind me to really help push that career forward. So I gradually moved away from the things that I loved, which was writing and music. But yeah, for a while, I could not answer that question once I became a mom and once I became married, because I really lost that version of me.
Yeah. Tell me about, when did you meet your ex-husband?
Sure. And can I give a disclaimer real quick?
Yes, please.
Because, honey, how can I be myself?
This is what Crossroads Callings is about. And I want you to be yourself, because I think for people to really understand the impact of your story, they really need to see you.
Okay.
So I really want to get into that relationship and how did we get here?
Yes.
And then what eventually led to the living room. So
got you.
Feel free to kind of be honest, give that background. You don't have to say anyone's name.
Yes. That's my disclaimer right there.
Yes, but this is your story though. Yeah.
Yes. And that's so hard. Another side story, not to go down a rabbit hole. It's so hard telling your truth while still being cognizant of how things affect the actors, the people in your story. So I'll try to be as honest and open while still being mindful that those individuals are still present.
Yes.
So my ex and I, full disclaimer, this is not to bash him. This is my story, my truth. But we met in 2009, which was a year after I graduated from college, from undergrad. I went to an HBCU in Florida, the best HBCU out there.
Is it FAMU?
I didn't say it, but you did. So yes, I went there and I moved back home. I moved in with my mom. I'm an only child. I don't have the only child syndrome.
Okay.
But I am an only child. I moved back with my mom, and I met my ex through my best friend at the time. So her boyfriend he was best friends with my ex-husband. So it was just a double date night. My friend was like, come out with us. We went out, had a good time. To be honest, we hit it off like that, and we were inseparable. It went from that one date night, which happened to be on Sweetest Day, which is a Chicago holiday, or maybe a Midwest. I don't know if it's...
I haven't heard it outside of Chicago. Yeah.
We met on Sweetest Day, and we were inseparable. I was at Thanksgiving dinner. That was in October of 2009, and I was at Thanksgiving dinner in November of 2009.
Did you go into the relationship thinking that this would be your husband?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
When did that happen? Like that light bulb went off, like we're going to end up married?
I would say probably the following year.
Okay.
And I had no business thinking about marriage though, because I really wasn't in my career yet. I was still trying to figure things out. When I graduated in December of 2008, because I graduated in the winter session, it was a recession. I don't know if you remember 2008.
I remember that recession because I actually got laid off in 2009 because of that recession.
It was a recession, and my major was public relations. So no agency was hiring at that time. I had interned at, I don't know, can I say brand names or just...
It's up to you.
I'll just say a radio station, a company that would manage like multiple popular radio stations in Chicago, like prior to, but I could not get a job in PR. So long story short, I had no business thinking about marriage. I really didn't have a career at that point. I was living with my mom. I had never lived on my own. I hadn't been out of the country. But I think moving back home, being around like my high school friends, love those ladies dearly, but a lot of them had already started their families. They had children, even though we were in our 20s. They had children. They were in like committed relationships. And I think I fell victim to just my surroundings.
Yeah, you were influenced.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whereas a lot of my friends I had gone to college with, they were living in different parts of Florida and other parts of the nation and traveling and just living a completely different life than what I had fallen back into.
What was your base foundation for what you thought marriage would entail? Did you have Cinderella dreams?
I did. I've always been a very family-oriented person. Still to this day, I love the idea of family and like getting together with family. I don't need a big crowd. I just need people who care about me and who I care about. So that was always a driver. And I think now that I think about it now, I was probably trying to heal that broken child in me.
Yeah. Because
my parents were divorced. I had the brief snippet of that quintessential suburban life. Girl Scouts, walk to school, run outside and play with your neighbors. And then it was just like snatched from me like by second grade. So I think because I had a brief experience like that, I've always wanted to recreate that just in a healthy relationship. So I think that was another driving force behind me wanting marriage.
Makes a lot of sense when you're used to a certain family dynamic and it's removed from you. I think a lot of us are guilty of trying to repair and heal our inner child by things that we can control as adults. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think what we don't account for is a lot of the unknowns.
Yes.
And that's where we get surprised, which would lead us to your unknown, because you did eventually end up divorced.
I did.
What caused the demise of your divorce?
Ooh, well, to be honest, I had no business getting married because all of the red flags were present before marriage. So what ended up leading to the divorce was I just got tired of being a victim. For years, I prayed for God to change my ex-husband. I'll share that, and again, this is not to bash him, this is my truth.
Yeah.
But he was a habitual cheater.
Okay.
And not only was he a cheater, somehow he found ways to blame me for his cheating.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was just one of those, after I would find out about something, here I am trying to smooth things out between us versus him trying to fix
Because
things.
now you feel like it's your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was that mixed with, he struggled with some dependency issues on, like alcohol. So, and I won't say too much more, but I'll just say it was very traumatic. Car accidents. Thank God no one was ever injured. He was injured, but he never injured anyone else. And he hates when I talk about these things, but because he's still in a space of not truly fully embracing that he has a problem.
Yeah.
So that's what collectively led to the shift. I prayed. I have thousands, well, I'm exaggerating. I have a bunch of journals. And most of those journals are just full of me, like just venting to God and being so unhappy in my marriage. And yeah, that's pretty much what.
How long were you married?
So we got married in 2012. And so 2021 was when I had that shift, like that I was ready for a change.
Yeah.
And then legally divorced in 2024.
2024.
But we were separated before that. Yeah.
Describe like the shell shock of the divorce and like the impact it had on you and as well as your children, because you have 3 small children as well, who are also used to mommy and daddy being together. And now they have to have a new frame of thinking as well as schedule. What was that transition like for you?
It was very scary. Well, let me back up. It was empowering and scary at the same time.
Okay.
So there was a sense of freedom that came. And even before the divorce, let me just say, the marriage ended for me like many years before the actual divorce. So 2021 was when I had that shift and when I started, doing the things, and I'll wait because I know you're probably going to go into that. But long story short, it was hard because I had never lived on my own before. I went from college where I had roommates to my mom's house, to my husband, to then now living on my own, having to maintain a household while also taking care of 3 kids with someone who is not the most stable in some areas of life. Hardworking, great person when he's sober, but when he's not, I might as well be a single parent.
Yeah.
So it was very scary, but the way I look at everything and the way God works in my life, before he pushes me into a new season, he always prepares me. I knew a shift was coming from a number of things.
Yeah, for example, because sometimes shifts happen and we don't always aware of the signs. What were those signs for you?
So literally, I had a dream. And then there were other things. So I'll just try to recap the dream. And just backstory, I am a dreamer. Like, I've had dreams that have come to pass. I knew when my oldest child would be born. There are stories behind that. So that's one way I feel like God helps to build my faith and others, because whenever I have those types of dreams, I'll share it with select people. So it's like a witness. So when it happens.
Yeah. I have a quick question. Since you're a dreamer, did you see him cheating? Like you felt
it?
Okay.
I did.
A lot of people that say they have dreams or have like a sixth sense or of intuition, they can feel when their partner is doing things. So
let me tell you this dream. I'll recap it. So I had this dream in 2020. I dreamed that we were in our home and he had a hammer and he was in the basement hammering like a loose nail. And he had his shirt off. He was exposed. And so, dreams are symbolic, not always literal. So I'm going to explain what the things mean as I share it. So him having no shirt, I think, represented him being exposed, trying to fix something. And so fast forward in the dream, I just remember the hammering became so loud that it became painful. And it got so destructive where the house started to crumble. I remember screaming, telling everyone, we have to get out. We have to exit the house. So I got my kids out first through the back door of my home. And then my ex-husband exited, and then I left. And then I remember standing in the backyard watching my home crumble to a pile of rubble and feeling devastated in that moment, like you would feel if your home just crumbled in front of you. And immediately after, it was like a hand reached out of the cloud and handed me an envelope. I opened it up. It was a check for $20 million. And I gasped like you would if somebody were to just give you $20 million.
Yeah.
And then I woke up. So I prayed about that for years, like, what did it mean? What did it mean? And as time went on and as I started to shift and change, I'm like, God is calling me out of this marriage. He is calling me to exit this marriage. And it is going to be painful and devastating, but he is going to open the floodgates of heaven and pour out a blessing. So it represented not necessarily restoration, but just abundance. You know, what we always have visions for our life, but God's plans for our lives are always bigger and better than what we can ever imagine.
Yeah.
So that was one of the major things that gave me kind of like the confirmation
that it was time.
That it was time. Yeah.
Tell me about the road back to yourself.
Ooh.
I'm interested because your story kind of reminds me of my mother. She went from her mom's house, and then she had me 19, 20 years old, and then she got married 3 years later. It wasn't until after her divorce, she got divorced when I was 28, where she began to like shine, and I almost had to relearn my mother again because I didn't know. I knew wife. I knew my mom. I didn't know my mom as a person. And I later learned that she didn't know herself as a person. So she took that time post-divorce to figure out how she liked her house and how she liked her eggs and how she liked to do her hair. And all of the things that I've learned as a single woman, I had essentially became my mother's mentor. Like, how do I date? How do I do this? It was almost like reverse mentoring because I knew a life that she did not know.
Wow.
So when I read your story and I think about you, I think about how much it really takes to self-discover. And so please share what that was like for you.
Yeah. So it was gradual, and it's a lifestyle. Let me say it's still something going on, but it started with me, just like what your mom did, doing things that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
At the time in 2021, let me see, my youngest is 9. So he would have been 4? And then, so they would have been 4, 5, and 6 because I have a 9, 10, and 11-year-old. So I was always tired around that time.
And you have stair-step children.
Yes. So there were things that I just stopped doing for myself, like getting my hair done, going to the nail salon. That just wasn't a priority for me. So I started getting my hair done again.
Okay.
And then I liked the way that made me feel. So it was like small actions that shifted how I felt. And then from there, I got into fitness right in the living room, which is why I named the book The Living Room.
Okay.
Because my kids were young. I didn't have the energy to join like a group fitness class. So I just started working out in my living room. I had a standing date with myself every night. 9 p.m., once my house was quiet, I fell in love with me. Like I started admiring myself again. And so as I started to have my glow up, because I looked a hot mess during that time, I'm not gonna lie. And I know some people might say, well, maybe that's why your husband was cheating. But no, he was cheating when I was fine in my 20s.
Exactly. Okay.
But I did lose myself a bit from, mothering, and from just the stress of everything else in the marriage, all of the negative things. So I did lose myself. I was a hot mess. So after like doing small things like going to the salon and getting my nails done and working out, I started seeing that glow. And people started saying it, which is why I embraced the term. Like I didn't self-stamp it. People literally would tell me, you are glowing. And so over time, I'm like, you know what? I want to create a brand around, glow. And so fast forward, I went to a Black-owned nutrition bar in Beverly. I gotta shout her out because you know her too.
Yes.
And I told her, I'm like, I put you in my book, honey.
Yes, you did. I know exactly who you were talking about.
Yes. So I had already started the work at home, with the standing date, fitness, stretching, prayer, meditation. And my aunt told me about a scavenger hunt that supported small Black-owned businesses. And I remember looking at the list like, I don't really want what those people have to offer, but I do like tea. So I'm like, I'll go and check this business out. So shout out to Morgan Martin.
Yes, Morgan.
of Live and Believe Nutrition in Beverly in Chicago, because I went in there to purchase a tea, and because I had been working out at home and I was getting more energy, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready to try like group fitness. It was music playing in the background, like loud, like in another room. I'm like, what's going on? And not Morgan, but one of the other ladies who works there, she's like, oh, that's our dance fitness class. Now, dance has always been a first love, from performing, and I was on the pom-pom team in high school. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to come back and check it out. Did that, fell in love with the class, the people, and from there, everything just kind of like was up in terms of like wellness. It became a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is that, because I made a note here, we're gonna fast forward, because you have a Good for the Soul wellness group. Is that your own group?
It is.
Could you tell us a little bit more about like what the Good for the Soul wellness does?
Yes.
And how and what that community entails, as well as where your motto of pray, live, love, laugh, and glow from the inside out came from.
Absolutely. So Good for the Soul Wellness is a community wellness organization. You can engage in anything from fun fitness classes to other types of wellness events, such as like vision boarding. I did that last year where I sponsored vision boards.
I went to your vision boarding. I didn't know that was part of a larger group.
Yes.
Though. Okay.
Yeah. So because wellness, I think when people think about wellness, they immediately think like fitness and nutrition.
Absolutely. I instantly think working out.
Yeah. But wellness is so much bigger than that. Wellness is about the people you surround yourself with, your social life. It's about your finances. Like if you study what wellness is, there are so many different tiers to it. And so what I try to do through Good for the Soul is encompass all of that through different experiences, whether it is a fitness class or a vision boarding workshop or the nutrition products that I sell.
Okay.
So I do sell a collagen water, and I named it Glow Water because everybody was saying I was glowing, and I was drinking my collagen water. But that's pretty much what Good for the Soul is, community wellness.
I do want to get into your book, and I appreciate you talking about the Good for the Soul wellness group, because I want people to be able to connect with you at the end of the interview. But I wanted to read some excerpts in the book that stood out to me.
Absolutely.
And we can discuss those. The first of which is, in the introduction, you said, there comes a moment in life when pain becomes too heavy to carry alone. When the heart breaks, the tears fall freely, and the future feels uncertain. In those moments, we often ask, why me? But over time, I've learned to ask a different question. God, what am I supposed to do with all of this? What was the trigger that caused this reframing of mind? Because it sounded like a mindset shift.
It was. For years, everything felt heavy. I don't know how else to describe it other than it was always just a heaviness. And you couldn't pay me back then. If you had told me back then that you are going to be divorced and happy and thriving, I would not have believed you. Because in that moment, I just couldn't see past my current circumstances. I had a victim mentality. I didn't understand, even though I had heard it, that you have to change. If you want your circumstances to change, you have to change, because waiting for someone else to change or trying to get someone else to change is going to be like hitting a brick wall. You're not going to get anywhere. Now, in some circumstances, I understand, that other people's spouses shift, but I had tried to get him to change for years. And, it wasn't happening. The man he was in 2021 was the same man he was in 2009. I really should not have married him, but I lacked boundaries. So there was just something. I really don't have an explanation as to what clicked, but in that moment in 2021, something just clicked, and it was just like, I'm tired of being tired.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was from me, doing those small things like getting my hair done, getting my nails done, or if it was just a spiritual breakthrough of some sort, but I shifted. And when I did that, it was no turning back.
You said something, and I don't know if you realize you said it. You have some accountability in there, where you said, I was trying to change him, and then I decided I need to change myself, and then that I lack some boundaries. There's some things I didn't see. And it's really easy to get caught up in that victim mindset. And that's a grown woman conversation right there. How did you begin to forgive yourself?
Yeah. Therapy helped with that, because one thing my therapist pointed out, because of my childhood experience with my own dad, love him dearly, great man, taught me everything I know about money, business, everything, but he also struggled from alcohol addiction. So I had learned to love two different types of men in one because of my relationship with my dad. He was the go-getter who bought me my first car in college, but he was also someone who would cuss me out when he was high or drunk. So I learned, what my therapist taught me was, you learned how to love a dysfunctional man early on. So because of that, it was easy for me to love my ex-husband, because they kind of were a mirror to each other. And so when I learned that in order to shift from loving dysfunctional people, it was about setting boundaries, acknowledging what is a non-negotiable, what you don't like, then everything shifted. It was really the lack of boundaries that caused me to settle for a marriage I should have never been in.
Brittany, you are freeing up some people, because I mean, I can even think about myself, and there is a lot of women that have subconsciously entered a cycle that they wanted to break. And little do we know how much our parental relationships impact how we date. And you did something. You begin to heal that notion.
Yeah.
And that is why you can thrive now, because you had to take a step back.
Yes.
You had to forgive dad and acknowledge him as a person and accept that, and you know what? This is what I've accepted. I understand my responsibility, and now I can make different decisions, because you're aware now.
Absolutely.
What was that mirror like for you? Like looking at yourself now for the first time and really seeing Brittany?
Yeah. I would say it's definitely a blessing. I thank God. Because I truly believe that we are not, we suffer, we go through things, but we're not meant to stay in suffering. So now when I look at myself, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for that shift, and I'm grateful to be in a position to inspire, encourage, and empower others, because I don't want that pain to go to waste. Yeah. So looking in the mirror now, I'm just full of gratitude, and and I know my source. I don't take full credit. Yes, I had to do the work. I still have to do the work, working out in terms of the wellness side, and then taking care of my, my soul, my spirit. But I know I'm just a woman of God, and I know that my source of all things is God. So
you talk a lot about faith in your book. Talk about how that has served your faith has served as a bridge and a lifeline to get you through these different stages.
Absolutely. So I would say it's always been a part of my life. Even as a young child, I was praying without knowing I was praying. So for example, some people might call it wish, make a wish, right? I remember those weeds, the little white flower things that grow.
Dandelions.
The dandelions, yes. I remember as a child, just because of I think our generation, parents used to be like, pick one of those and make a wish, and you're supposed to blow it, right?
Right.
So I remember at a young age, because I was exposed to so much dysfunction, I remember picking one of those, saying, praying for my dad. It was a wish, but it was really a prayer. And so I think that became a part of my life unknowingly at a very young age. And just through the years, both parents, even my dad with what he struggled with, they've always made sure to keep God present in my life. We weren't heavy churchgoers or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I've always had a strong person relationship. I'm not religious. I'm more spiritual. So that has been the cornerstone. It has been the foundation of everything. Before I take a job, before I engage, in certain activities with different people, friendships, whatever, I'm always praying about everything.
Yeah.
And I wait, to listen. Sometimes it's right away, sometimes it's not clear, you know what I mean? But prayer is everything. Prayer and a personal relationship is everything.
Do you think your faith got stronger after your divorce?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That marriage definitely
tested that faith, didn't it?
Tested the faith, and it strengthened my faith, though, because it was I have to trust God. And truly, everything shifted for the better. I made more money after that. My physical appearance literally changed. When I look at pictures of myself from during that time frame, and now I'm I don't even look like the same person.
Yeah, it's like the dark cloud kind of opened up, and now the sun can shine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I believe that, we go through what we go through specifically to build our faith, to, this, not to get religious, but because I'm not religious, but there was a piece of scripture that I read before that said, we are visitors here. Mm-hmm. We are not permanent residents here as we know it. And so I believe that wherever we're heading to next, we've got to have faith, in order to enter whatever that is. So, and it's funny because speaking of dreams, not to go down that rabbit hole again, I remember another dream that I had. And in that dream, it was a man calling me Imani. And I never knew the meaning of Imani. Mm-hmm. And when I looked it up, it means faith. And that is why I have this faith is everything. Okay, the faith tattoo. Faith is everything for me. So
I want to talk a little bit more about the book In Alignment with Faith, because mm-hmm. you mentioned the notion of still being worthy. Mm-hmm. And the reason that stood out to me is because when we go through in life, there are so many things that we can say disqualified us. Mm-hmm. This happened, this disqualified us. Even in social media, being a divorced mother of 3, people can say that disqualifies you from having a healthy, happy relationship. Look at how they're slandering poor Sierra and now mm-hmm. Megan Thee Stallion.
Mm-hmm.
But you still maintain that notion, I am still worthy. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from?
Just really rerouting myself in knowing that I am a child of God, that I am one of God's creations.
Yeah.
And that it's not necessarily about external validation. But, when you get out there and you start dating again, after you've gone through a really horrible season in marriage, and when you feel rejected, that helps, when men start flirting with you again and you're oh, okay, I still got it, post 3 kids, but that wasn't the foundation. The foundation was just remembering who I was and owning that happiness and that joy without validation from anyone else. But I will share that there was an experience with someone from my past that came back into my life who was I would marry you tomorrow. And I'm body looking crazy, I'm feeling a hot mess, but he was ready. So that, that stroked my ego mm-hmm. a little bit, mm-hmm. but I would definitely say it's just a knowing. You just have to remember what God says about you.
Do you constantly remind yourself of that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Especially today, like you said, because of social media and so many external voices and things that we try to live up to, it's important to stay grounded and know who you are regardless of what social media or the world says you need to be.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
There's another excerpt in the book that I wanted to read because it spoke to me too. So mm-hmm. you say wholeness isn't something you stumble into. It's something God grows in you piece by piece, prayer by prayer, lesson by lesson. Thinking about like where you are today, have you arrived at that wholeness?
So I do think we are forever evolving, but if I have to answer if I'm whole, absolutely.
Yeah.
I truly believe like the past 10 years of my life has been about like shaping me holistically, like of course reminding me who I am, you know, as a child of God. My health, getting my health in order, my finances, like everything from, I remember before getting the job that I have now, prior to this, I had got laid off. My position was eliminated. Didn't do anything wrong. And I remember praying, like, I need a job. Like, I need something. And it was like, God was like convicting me. He's like, you need to create a budget. Because I really was not good at like managing money. And so I honestly, after I did that, God blessed me with an amazing opportunity that surpassed my expectations. And so I believe that everything is like preparation and a lesson. It's either a lesson or a blessing. Either God is teaching us something or he is rewarding us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I do want to ask you now, when you think about the journey that you've had, what do you think your calling is?
I think it's to inspire, encourage, and empower specifically women. I'm not limiting myself to just that, but I, relate with women the most, and even more if I have to get even more niche with it, single moms.
Okay.
Because I do identify as a single mom now in this season of my life, and it is not easy.
No, it definitely takes a village, because I feel like as a mother, and I am not a mother, I am Auntie Chimere, but there are a lot of influences that we didn't have as kids. Yeah. Like social media, people have phones, the constant like dopamine, the influence of their friends, cyberbullying. Like back in the day, we could fight our bullies and live to tell about it the next day, but that's constantly happening. So the fact that you can identify with the mothers and kind of give them hope and inspiration, that means a lot, because it is exhausting.
It is. Yeah.
And it's at the same time, how do you balance your self-care? Because you still mama need a life too. I hate to say it like that, but mommy needs to be okay for the kids to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, everything is about seasons. When my children were a lot younger, I couldn't do some of the things that I do now. I couldn't move around like how I move around now.
Yeah.
So you just have to get creative. So in terms of like working out, I worked out at home. Even though my ex-husband was in the house at the time, I could have gone to a workout class. I just didn't physically feel like it. And I know a lot of moms can relate. They're just always tired.
Yeah.
So, but you do have to push yourself. And I would just say, just be mindful that everything is a season. If you have a newborn, you might not feel like it. You know what I mean? Give your body a break. But absolutely, just be mindful about the seasons. And in each season, just push yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, I love that. As we're wrapping up the interview, what do you want the listeners to know about the living room, and why should they get it?
Absolutely. And that's the camera, right?
Yes, okay. that is your camera.
Okay. So I just want to let you know that if you are going through anything that feels impossible to overcome, if it's too heavy, if you don't feel like living anymore, because let's just be real, people struggle with the thought of checking out all the time. I want you to know that this too shall pass. You have to get rooted in faith. You have to believe that you are loved by a higher being and that God is not surprised at anything that you're going through. So I want to encourage you to get the book. Read it. Maybe you might find something in there that will inspire you to change, to shift. Even if it's something as little as what we talked about today, go get your hair done. If you can't afford it, I've got news for you too. I didn't talk about it, but there are other programs like this, but I'm also creating a program called Glow Days.
Okay.
And Glow Days will be designed to give back to women. I really would love to help single moms, but it will be open to all women because even women without children hit hard times.
Yes.
But those Glow Days will be centered around just helping you feel beautiful. So I've partnered with someone in the beauty industry, and she's going to be doing lashes and makeup for free. I've got my hair person. So anyway, the book is really to encourage you to remember who you are through God's eyes and to start doing the work. If you don't like your circumstances, whether it is your finances, your job, your marriage, or your relationship, your friendship, whatever it is, you can shift it. But you have to do the work. You have to acknowledge that you're not a victim. And you have to acknowledge that you do need God's help. Because do you know how you got on this earth? Not really. You can't articulate it. You can't go and create another human, which means somebody created you or something, or however you want to look at it, whatever. But I just want to encourage you and let you know that this too shall pass. So
thank you so much, Brittany, for sharing your story. So how do they connect with you online or get plugged into your wellness group? How do they find the book and like learn more information about your programming?
So the book can be purchased on Amazon via the Kindle app, or you can order the paperback. So if you go to Amazon and you search The Living Room by Brittany, Brittany Gold, you will find it. Of course, you've got to put all of that in, because if you just put in The Living Room on Amazon, you're going to get all type of stuff back. Also, you can follow the page on Instagram, my personal page, which is really just fitness and me, glowing up, is The Brittany Gold. The Brittany Gold, BrittanyGold on Instagram. And from there, I don't want to just start putting out all these handles. You can link to the Living Room Instagram page and the Good for the Soul Instagram page as well.
We will place all of Brittany's handles at the bottom of the screen here so you can plug into her, as well as I'll post the link to the book in our caption on YouTube. But again, I want to thank you for your time. We had a great conversation. I hope you felt like you said everything you wanted to say. I appreciate you sharing your heart with me and trusting me to just introduce The Living Room to the rest of the world. I think it's a great book. I think you'll have a lot of people reaching out to you and wanting to talk to you about it. Because you just never know what people are going through during these times. But for you listeners, please reach out to Brittany. Also follow Crossroads Callings on all podcasting platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube page and reach out. Send us some feedback about what you think about Brittany's story and other stories that you hope to listen to and other people that you want to learn from. Lastly, I want to thank the National Public Housing Museum for being an amazing partner. If you happen to be in the Chicagoland area, they would love to host you. And on that note, use your crossroads to find your calling.